Hello everybody, decided to do an update for May. I'm just going to do a walk through the garden again like I've been doing. Hope everyone enjoys. This is one of my jujubes. It has still not broken dormancy, but I'm told that's pretty normal for them. Behind it is a shallot. Just had a grocery store shallot that started going sprouty and planted it, and it's been alive a couple years. Harvested it and replanted. Here's one of my two dogwoods. It's doing great. This one is a Pioneer dogwood, Cornelian dogwood. And there's some potatoes all around it from my potato video. I'll probably do an update to that one a bit later. Here's a patch of sage come back, looks happy and healthy. Szechuan pepper tree has not leafed out yet, but I've still got hope for it. Walking along, here's one of my gummy berries, as well as another potato. Still hasn't leafed out yet, but here's one of my Kusa dogwoods. No sign of life from them yet. Another big sage plant. My Szechuan pepper also has not broken dormancy yet. My other Kusa dogwood hasn't broken dormancy. The other gummy berry. It's been nibbled down by critters a couple times, but it seems to not mind all that much. The garlic around it's growing well. Potatoes are growing well. Then over here, pretty sure that sage did not make it. That was tricolor sage, I believe. It's a garlic over there. Szechuan pepper is not woken up. Over here, I've got my yellow dogwood. Around it, I've planted a skirret way out here. I believe that's a cut leaf coneflower next to some potatoes. And when you look down in there, there's just a hint of green. Most of the leaves have died off. I'm not sure if it's going to make it. I may have to contact the seller. Over here, a Szechuan pepper that didn't do all too well. It also hasn't broke dormancy yet, so we'll see how it goes. On to the next row, my aronia berries. There's a tulip that's faded away. The aronia berry itself has fluffed back out, even though this one gets the most grazing pressure. Looks just fine. There's the bee balm that I planted next to it that was just a little bitty plug last year, little 1-inch plug. It has already got what looks like the starts to flowers forming. So a few more months we'll have flowers to share and more potatoes around it. As we walk over to the next aronia berry, there's a hole I dug in the mulch to put in some kind of spring ephemeral, I forget the name, but some kind of native wildflower. Up in through the grass, I've got to weed it some, but there's a baptisia I planted. Aronia itself is looking much bigger, much healthier. Looks like it had some flowers that have already faded, so we'll probably get fruit. There's a tulip right in here. Oh, and aronia runners are popping up all over. I could propagate it pretty easily. And another baptisia in with the grass, and some more potatoes. Heading over to the next one, more potatoes. Got a tulip. Here's an aronia that's still got flowers on it. Quite pretty, American native. There's a much happier, less smothered out baptisia right there. There's supposed to be one on this side. Yep, I can barely see it poking through, so these ones have some baptisias as nitrogen fixers and nectar sources for the bees. This one has false baptisia or woody baptisia. There's a couple names for it. I don't remember all of them, but it's a nitrogen fixer. It's going to get way too tall for the area, so I'm going to have to trim it often for chop and drop, but it's supposed to react well to that anyhow. Another tulip. Another aronia bloom right there. Big patch of daylilies. It's looking better and better. Some more potatoes. On to the next row. Over here, more garlic, more comfrey. We've got another jujube. Still, well, no, this one's actually starting to break dormancy and leaf out. If I can get it to focus right there. I apologize, everybody. I'm going to wipe the screen, see if that's the problem. Okay, let's see. Can we focus now? Maybe that helps. But, yep, it looks like that one's broken dormancy, so the other one should soon. Alright, walking along towards the first of my 2 green gauge plums. Potatoes, catmint, really popular with the bees around here. A yellow goji berry. The plum itself was chewed down pretty harshly. I'm hoping that that's the actual plant and not the rootstock just taking over. More potatoes, and a quite tall and happy purple asparagus. I don't remember the name of that one, but I got it from Urban Farmer. More potatoes. Another pile of mulch I've still got to spread. Here's my Mount Royal plum. Has had much less pressure from critters. Got to make sure it's not. I think the one on the left is the actual plant, but the one on the right might be rootstock. Rootstock might have taken over. I may have to trim it back harshly or regraft it. But it's got some echinacea on that side that's doing well. Echinacea on this side hasn't broke dormancy yet, but give it time, it might. Another potato back there. Oh, I almost walked right past it. There's a bunch of asparagus getting ready to come up. So it's not doing too bad. We walk past another mulch pile. I think this is an Ann or Annie plum right here. It's looking pretty good, and it's got potatoes all over the place around it. I had an asparagus right there. It's first year, so it's a baby. But yep, lots of potatoes coming up. There's a raspberry that didn't make it. And right over here, another asparagus and a tayberry that got nibbled down by critters, but is coming back from the stalk again. And this here is my medlar tree. If you have a lot of space, I'd recommend this for sure, strictly as a ornamental. It's a strange one. I'll probably shoot a video on it when it finally fruits. Looks like, even though it's my second year, planted it last fall, looks like it's going to bloom, so I may get fruits to review. But I never had heard these leaves are just ever so slightly velvet-like. They're very soft. As we can see, there's probably some fungal issues like rust. Try to find the trees that are responsible, but for the most part, it's just going to have to survive or not here. Little piece of comfrey right there. On to the next row is the next green gauge. Another sad little asparagus I just planted yesterday. The Ponca blackberry, struggling, but it's at least very much alive. And then here's the actual plum itself, the green gauge. And if I zoom in real close there, that's a bud. So if any of my others flower this year and it pollinates, I might get a green gauge to review. Alright, moving along a little bit. Here we see my baby Shipova pear. It's growing quite well. Over here is a resting place for one of our barn cats. He was very old, but he was a really good cat. He was friendly, he was good to his kids, better than any cat I'd seen, so he got a really proper burial, and there's cutleaf coneflowers buried all around the surface, so he should have flowers as a remembrance. Moving on from there, we've got aronias around a apple. The apple got chewed back pretty badly, but it doesn't seem to have any issues. Big healthy comfrey that I planted last fall from a crown. One of my little garden lights is blown over again. Put it right back. Potatoes again. Asparagus. Looking good. The other aronia. Here's a spot I've prepped soil. I've got a bunch of compost under there. I'm going to put squash there once things get a little warmer. Here's a Macintosh apple. The last one was a banana apple. I don't think I mentioned. Here's a raspberry. I don't remember the variety, but I got it from Brambleberry Permaculture. It's all over the place. All these little bitty plants are raspberries. Right over there is fine. Thank you. Yep. Sorry, we just got a delivery. But there's asparagus, purple asparagus. Another raspberries come up. But this one looks like it's getting ready to flower. Male asparagus produce more food, so usually places you buy them from will selectively pick the males. More potatoes just out in the middle of everything. This was that big grassy area before. Looks like some pumpkin or squash of some sorts pushing its way through, because I laid compost down over every inch of this area. Here we get into my cherries. Lots of strawberries all around them as a ground cover, and they're starting to come in. This is my smallest cherry tree. It didn't grow at all last year. Never died back, never lost its leaves. Didn't look sickly at any point. It just didn't grow. If it doesn't grow this year, I'll dig it up and hack away half the roots and see if I can force it to figure itself out. But right there, it's a strawberry flower and a baby strawberry. I believe these are all white strawberries. Moving along from here, we're going to go over to my biggest cherry tree. Big old patch of comfrey, some strawberries. Here's my pink currant. Pink champagne, I believe the name of this one is. You can see it's got some flowers on it still, but a lot of the flowers are already becoming currants. And on top of the flowers and everything else, I released some ladybugs from Nature's Good Guys, and there's one still hanging out. There's another strawberry. These red flowered ones didn't fruit super largely on their first year, but that could be that they were just recovering from transplant shock. And then onto the cherry tree itself. Planted it, it was about this height, but it has just gone up and up and up. Quite happy and healthy. There's a little bit of rust spots on the leaves, but you know, that kind of happens when you don't spray everything. Right behind it, I've added a Rose of Sharon or cold hardy hibiscus inside of a tree protector for now, because the rabbits are everywhere out here. Some more garlic. That was a rose I planted improperly last fall. I don't think it's going to pull through. Here we have more sage. And it looks like it's going to flower this time around. It didn't flower on its first year. And here's my colossal chestnut from One Green World. Oh. Sounds like there's trouble. I will be back. Okay, if I did that correctly, this should all be one video. We'll see. Right over here, we've got some more things around this cherry tree. Walking onion, honeyberry, which I see more ladybugs are calling home right now. A couple of them there. Coming over here, another dirt patch with a bunch of compost under it for pumpkins. These strawberries are already spreading like crazy, already sending out new runners. This is a gooseberry. I don't remember the variety. Let's see if I can find a tag. But it was also from Brambleberry Permaculture. Nope, seems that I've lost the tag. But my dad picked it out, and I'm happy to see it doing well. We'll have fruit pretty soon. Let me zoom in and let you guys actually see. Yep, fruit. Not huge, but they'll grow. But these strawberries are huge. Absolutely all over the place. taking over any area that they can reach, which I'm happy for. I'd take them over the rest of the grasses and stuff that are pushing through. More of them over here, all the way out into my walkways here. These, I think, are Ozark something, some kind of everbearing. Of course, they're around a cherry tree, like I mentioned, but they've been incredibly prolific here. We're on zone 5 or zone 6. Used to be zone 5, now they say zone 6, but it still gets zone 5 temps, and they survive with no protection just fine. Here we have one of my female sea berries, ladybugs on it. Here we have my sea kale in bloom, quite ornamental, quite delicious. I would highly recommend it if you're in an area you can grow it. Back over on this side, we've got another honeyberry growing underneath one of my more mature dwarf apple trees. Some strawberries under it, and I'm pretty sure I just stole those strawberries last year from the patch we were just at. It's another sea berry there. That one was just a piece of that one that a bunny or something chewed off and dropped. I just stuck it in the dirt and it survived. It's come back stronger. Underneath that grass is another honeyberry I need to take care of. Comfrey and mushrooms coming up. Asparagus coming up. This lavender has bounced back beautifully. You can see some bad spots in it still, but otherwise it looks like nothing happened. And this is all around another apple tree. My dad finally remembered part of what these more mature ones that he planted are. Some of them are Grimes Golden. That's apparently a variety that he's a big fan of, and it's a great pollinator. Another raspberry that has just gone crazy and taken over. I believe this is a Cascade Gold, but I could be mistaken. We'll see. Around its back, you can see a second comfrey and a couple other small oddballs I've planted. That massive green in the middle is goldenrod. I could have weeded it all out, but it's a native wildflower. The bees rely on it heavily in fall, so I chose to leave it. Here we have another currant, a big, happy, healthy comfrey that's about to flower. Another mature apple. There's a blueberry up front that's a little easy to miss from this side, but it got chewed down pretty bad. But we'll see how well it looks. There was a ton of mushrooms in this area. I picked the best ones and I tried to leave some to do their natural thing. Another purple asparagus doing great. There's that blueberry I mentioned. And those little bitty twigs in there are another gooseberry that I brought in. That one's a Hinnomaki Red, I believe. It's from Finland. Continuing on this path here, we have that giant mulberry, which shockingly hasn't broken dormancy. I'm worried about it, but I don't think I should be. Mulberries kind of go crazy here. And I installed a grape at the base, so that grape should wake up and start to trellis up this giant mulberry. There's I'm trying to remember the variety. I think maybe it was an Amish gooseberry, but it's going to do a lot better now. It got chewed down a couple times, but nothing seems to have noticed it. Another comfrey. Here was one of the raspberries that I planted. It didn't do much of anything, but now there's babies all over. In fact, I accidentally stepped on that one, but not too hard. It should be okay. Moving forward, I see potatoes coming up, and finally some leaves on this one. This one is my Red Love Calypso, I believe. Red Love Calypso was a Valentine's Day gift from my wife. Walking back over this way, it seems that my, I'm trying to think of the word. My bush cherry here didn't seem to pull through. It's not woken up yet, but I'll keep an eye on it. The other one's already looking great. You'll see in a minute. Just a quick look down here. I put a bigger tube on it because it kept getting chewed on, but there's my Arkansas black apple. and we'll start heading back across. This whole area's got so many things. I've gotta work on killing this grass off, but tulip that's past its prime. Here we've got a what's the name? Purple passion apple. It's been chewed down so many times, but it just keeps coming back. I'm trying to get it tall enough I can put a tree shield on it without it being completely smothered. There's a honeyberry in there with it, and a comfrey over there. I can chop and drop in a little bit. Keep walking this way. Right here we're at another mature apple tree. So in the walkway, I just found some perfect young wine cap mushrooms. They taste best, in my opinion, when they're at this stage. So I'm going to pull them up real quick and lay them down where you can see them. But they get huge. There's tons of pieces of them from yesterday. I've harvested them 3 days in a row now. But, yep, lots of mushrooms to eat. Big, healthy bee balm growing in a clump. Comfrey over there. Gooseberry there, garlic there. Whole lot of things going on in front of this big tree. It's a dwarf tree, but it still looks like it's, at least 10 foot tall. So it's doing pretty well for itself for a dwarf tree. Getting over here, this is getting overgrown by weeds. But this was my cold hardy citrus. I still see no signs of life out of it, but the walking onions around it seem to be quite happy with this location. And that lemon thyme, silver lemon thyme, is doing quite well. Walking around this way. Did not harvest all of my sunchokes, so they're going to be very dense, probably grow too close and end up with a lot of really tiny ones, but it's okay. They'll still make a harvest. There's another thyme in there. This is where I filmed the video for North Spore mushrooms, if you saw that short. There's my comfrey, another currant. Over here, I've got another blueberry. I've got my dwarf Shipova, as opposed to the other one, which was not dwarf, it was baby. And here we have a lovage plant, very young, just getting its start. On to the next row, we've got some mushrooms that I kind of think might be oysters, but I'm not sure. And then blueberry that I got at Costco. Maybe they'll do better if they're more established going in, I'm thinking. Skirret. As I keep walking this way, back to that same tree, there's a drinking gourd hosta my wife picked out. And this apple has blown over a bit, but it doesn't seem to care. We plan to put it upright, but because it's doing okay, we haven't worried too much. But the drinking gourd hosta likes the shade. It's doing quite well. Keep walking this way. There's some wild yarrow. I just made sure we didn't bury it too deeply when we were putting the mulch in here, and it's grown quite well and quite happy. Great medicinal. Back to this tree again, but on the back side there's some good King Henry I put in just a few weeks ago. Another asparagus. This one's growing in pretty heavy shade, but it's doing all right. Keep walking this way. There's a lot of stuff in here that's still dormant. I think there's coneflowers in there, just standard purple coneflower. Little bitty bees all over the place. If I showed you guys every bee, we'd never even get through this. But keep walking this way. And here's another raspberry I planted last year that didn't do a whole lot, but it seems to be coming back with vigor. Here's one of my contender peaches that I planted this spring. And there's a little baby strawberry I started right around the base of it. Right over here is a German chamomile. I've got grass around it as mulch, but I bought that little start at the farmer's market near here. Farmer's market I'm hoping to start selling at soon enough. But if I show you real close, I'll probably remove them so that the tree can save its energy, but that's a peach. Up here's a peach. There's a peach. There's a pretty big peach already. Somewhere there. So, another one on that branch. So there's tons of peaches that I'm probably going to have to remove because the tree's just too young for them. Here we have my chestnut crabapple I planted this year. We'll keep walking a little bit north. Over here we've got my other bush cherry, which not only looks happy, but I suspect it's going to flower, but it will have no pollinators, so no fruit. Here's my other Arkansas black apple. It's got a little spider. Won't zoom in for those of you who don't like them, but that's pest control in my eyes. I'm happy for him to be here. Here's another lovage, and it's growing as a companion to my Peace Garden apple. Probably doing the best out of any apple I've planted myself. Comfrey. There's the thyme I planted a few shorts ago, showing how I plant herbs in my orchard. Asparagus is doing quite well. More little bitty wine caps popping up. They're not as big, I suspect, because the temperatures have come up too much. They don't like the heat. Here's some that I left to drop spores. Right in there. So that one's a big one. There's my other good King Henry. And my other sea berry that's doing quite well. Other asparagus. As we walk through here, we're getting into one of my other very mature large apples. There's tons of strawberries growing in the shade of it, looking quite happy and healthy. Some asparagus. Across from it I have a witch hazel. It's not doing terribly great, but it's also not doing terribly in general. At least I hope not. The leaves are a little pale, but some of them have got a little bit of green at the base. I'm hoping that that's not illness or anything going on with that. And a cut leaf coneflower that's doing great right next to it. Might even flower this year with how well it's doing. And then back to the big tree, there's a honeyberry there. And there's my rhubarb in full flower, full bloom. I think that's a dianthus. My mom asked me to bring it out here. It's perennial. I couldn't see any harm in putting it out here, so here it is. This is my male sea berry. It got chewed down relentlessly by animals. So I've put some other stuff around it. There's a baby strawberry, garlic, and garlic to try to keep things away. But right there is the actual baby sea berry that has come back from the root of the adult that's been chewed back. So I'm very hopeful for it. There's another sea kale that's doing quite well. It's got a walking onion next to it and some garlic around that. As we keep walking this way, it's already flowered, but here we are at my Autumn Brilliance serviceberry. The serviceberry is also called Juneberry and a number of other things. The flowers are gone, but you can see there will be a lot of berries soon. Underneath it is a comfrey that's about to bloom. I see a couple ladybugs there. Walking onions, scarlet, another asparagus. So there's lots of things that hopefully can do well here. We'll move on to the last row. Over here in the last row, again, big mature apple tree. Got some sun chokes that I didn't want there, so I may be pulling sun chokes for a while. But as I walk this way, comfrey that's about to flower again. It had a lot more growing around it, but not a lot of it has lived is the problem. Coming around the back though, In the shade, there's some apple mint, and the apple mint seems to be doing quite well. It smells like apples and mint. It's interesting at the very least. Coming around this way to my pond, I've got a little bit of life from there and there that I think are the arrowroots that I was excited for. And in the middle, there is my lily pad coming back. Next to the pond, I have put this double jewel peach. So hopefully that'll help protect it from cold a little bit better, being near the pond. Here we're moving over to another area with not a lot of its companions survived, but big mature apple. I apologize if I'm holding the camera funny, I just somehow got a thorn in my hand. Trying to get it out real quick. It's not gonna come out. I'm gonna have to live with it for the rest of the video. It is what it is. Okay, but comfrey. This is chocolate mint. It moves along the ground and it managed to take root along the ground and it has escaped its containment. So there will be a lot more effort put into harvesting it so that it doesn't go everywhere. That's the big thing about controlling mint is you've got to fight it all the time. You've got to use it all the time or it's just going to take everything. Another patch of mushrooms, wine caps. Here is my Flavor King Pluot and my Pluary. They're supposed to pollinate each other, but it's their first year. They've just been planted. There's my big patch of cactus. Needs some work. Need to take care of it better, but it's got a couple things going. It's got some blueberries I've planted around it, and you can already see it's starting to send out new pads. And it's got some old pads. If anyone wants to buy them from me, ask me in the comments, and I'll put a listing up on my Etsy, and I'll ship the pads to you. They'll root as soon as you put them in soil, pretty much. Another peach, contender peach. Again, it's got little babies all over it. Probably gonna have to just remove all those so that the tree doesn't use all of its energy on that one thing. Oh, hey. I don't know what that guy is. There's a bug. I'm gonna do a close-up of a bug of some sort. But that card he's on is supposed to be for, oh, he's running away from me. Looks kind of like an earwig of some sort. That card he was on is supposed to be eggs for a couple of good insects, so hopefully he's not eating them. Alright, there is some strawberry around the, strawberries around the base of this peach still. And there is cut leaf coneflower. And over here, the gold russet. I bought this because Skill Tree has recommended it so many times and spoken positively of it so many times that I just really wanted one myself. So here it is, and I can't turn down another good storage apple. So hope everyone's had a great one. Hope everyone's enjoyed the video. I'll try to shoot another one soon, and I'll try to shoot one on my nut orchard next. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.